Good morning, everyone. This morning we're going to be working on the neck and we're going to stay seated for the whole practice. So if you make yourself comfortable on a chair and just check that you're not leaning back against the back of the chair, that your spine is erect, that your feet are flat on the floor, and just bring your attention down to your pelvis. Just check that you're not that you're pulling the flesh away from the sitting bones first. So with the hands on each side of the pelvis, we're going to start with some pelvic tilts. So we can take the pelvis forwards, and you might notice that the lumbar curve starts to increase. You can maybe place one hand just there just to check that on the lumbar spine. So as the pelvis moves forward, the lumbar curve increases, the chest opens and moves upwards. And then you can move the pelvis back in the opposite direction and the lumbar curve flattens. So just going to and fro between those two extremes. And you can do that with the breath as well, if you like. As we take the pelvis forward, you can inhale and then exhale, taking it back. So the tailbone moves forwards, the top of the pelvis moves back, so tilting it backwards like that. And then in the opposite direction, you'll feel a whole opening in the chest and that little lumbar curvature increasing at the same time. So just another time, one more time. And then we'll bring that to rest in a midway point between those two extremes. So just check with your hand that there's still some lumbar curve there, but it's not too much. It's just right, not too much, not too little. And then you can place the hands down on your thighs. And we'll start to bring our attention to the breath. Breathing through the nose. And slightly closing the vocal cords so that you can just become aware of that flow of air through the throat. And we'll start to deepen and lengthen the breath. As you inhale, feel the air coming in and opening up the chest, and then traveling down, abdomen expanding. And as you exhale, drawing those abdominal muscles up and in. So the abdomen contracts, the rib cage contracts, and the air comes out of the nostrils. So just keeping the mind on the flow of air, on the expansion and contraction of the body with the breath. And on your next inhalation, take your attention to the spine. And just notice the spine growing long and tall as you inhale. And try and keep that length as you exhale. There might be a little bit of relaxation down. Keep the feeling of being tall, long spine. And just a slight feeling of flattening of the thoracic part of the spine as you inhale. So that part that comes up from the lumbar spine travels up between the shoulder blades and comes up to the base of the neck. A little flattening there, and the breastbone lifts at the same time. You can place one hand, maybe if you can reach round to the thoracic spine, one hand on the chest. And then put the hands down. And allow allow the breath to run up and down your spine as you breathe, all the way down to the tailbone. And then coming up through the whole spine and up through the crown of the head. Long, tall spine. And the shoulders dropping down off each side. And then we're going to use the fingers to bring us a nice gentle touch to the neck. And giving it a nice massage. And we can tell the neck that we appreciate what it does for us every day of our lives. It supports our head, allows us to turn our head, and that we're going to take care of it and do what we can to make sure it stays healthy and strong and flexible. So then, using the fingertips, bring them to either side of the cervical spine. Start at the base and just start to work in between each of the vertebrae, going around in little circles maybe. And then just working upwards one by one. And another thing that you can do here, and we're not going to do at the moment, but you can use a tennis ball or maybe 2 tennis balls in a sock. It's a good idea. And so you've got one tennis ball either side of the cervical spine, and just running that up and down. And coming up to the base of the skull. And again, using the fingertips just to work into underneath the base of the skull, starting at the back where it meets the cervical spine, and then just moving forwards, going around in circles a few times, and then just coming forwards a little bit. These muscles tend to get overworked, and it's nice to give them a little bit of therapy. And then placing the fingertips all along the base of the skull. And then as you inhale, press gently upwards. You should feel a nice feeling of space in the neck. And we'll just do that 2 more times. Exhale. With the inhale, pressing upwards. Nice traction for the neck. Last one. And then taking the hands down and resting them on your thighs. So if you look straight ahead with a nice, steady, soft gaze, and then lower that gaze by about 20 degrees. So you're looking a little distance in front of you. You're not looking straight ahead. The gaze is slightly lowered. So the chin is down. You can use maybe your index finger on the chin and just help to draw it down. And then put one hand at the back of the head and press the head gently back into the hand. It's a feeling as if you're drawing back along the line of the jaw. And it sometimes makes you feel as if you're developing a double chin. So that's a good alignment for the neck. And take a few breaths just to let the brain absorb that new information. And we're going to start with some movement. So take an inhale. And as you exhale, turn to look over the left shoulder. Just noticing, how does the neck feel this morning? Inhale, come to center. Trying to keep that good alignment of the neck, and to the other side. Again, just noticing, is there any resistance to the movement? Keep going. Does it feel smooth and easy? Just a spirit of exploration and curiosity. So we're not forcing the neck to move further than it wants to. We're just allowing and just noticing any sensations that may arise And just one more. Just notice where the movement begins, what muscles start to come into action, what muscles start to allow that movement to relax. As one set of muscles activates, the other relaxes. And come back to center. And then as we inhale, we're just going to tip the head up. So it's just pivoting on that topmost vertebra. It's not the whole neck that's moving. And then draw the chin back down and in. And just notice again the fulcrum of that movement. Just notice where the head is moving from. Notice any feelings of stretch in the neck, any feelings of tightness, and coming back to the central point, keeping the gaze lowered by that 20 degrees, that feeling of drawing back along the line of the jaw. And now with your next exhale, we're going to tip the head sideways. Left ear comes down towards the left shoulder. Inhale, coming up. And exhaling to the other side. And notice, is one side easier than the other? Is there more range of motion on one side? There usually is. Most of us are asymmetrical. Again, noticing where is the head pivoting? What muscles are being activated here? What muscles are releasing? And we'll come to the last side. And coming back to the center, trying to cultivate a feeling of the head being perfectly aligned on top of the cervical spine. You can close the eyes, check your breath. Is the breath easy, relaxed? So we're going to start involving the shoulders in some movement as well now. So as we exhale, we're just going to allow a very small, subtle movement of the shoulders, sort of dropping forwards slightly. So again, it's not the whole torso that moves. It's just a very slight forward movement of the shoulder. And come back to center on the inhale. Exhale, just drop them backwards a little bit. Inhale to the center. You might not see my shoulders moving hardly at all. It's a very small movement. See if you can just visualize it in your mind's eye. Visualize this whole area here. So dropping backwards. Inhale back to the central position. And then exhale, it drops forwards. So if you're finding that you can't actually make the shoulders move much at all, just see if you can visualize it happening in your mind's eye. And then if you keep practicing this, it will improve. Because by visualizing it, your brain is making a map, sending out all those signals to all those nerve endings in that area. And as we practice, that network will grow stronger and the connection with the brain will grow stronger. So now we're going to start by inhaling, and as you exhale, just drawing the shoulders up slightly towards the ears. You might see something happening a little bit more obvious with this one. And down. As you exhale, drawing the shoulders up, taking care that the neck itself doesn't move, the head doesn't move. And again, being aware of what muscles are having to move and activate to initiate that movement. And then be aware of them relaxing, trying to let them relax all the way down as far as possible. Coming up. Trying to keep your awareness on what's happening in the body. Using your breath to help that to happen. As you exhale, everything lets go, dropping down with gravity towards the floor. Inhale, starts to tighten, activate, drawing the shoulders up. You can pause here for a second if you like, hold everything still. And then on the exhale, smooth, long breath, a smooth, long movement. And then let everything stay where it is. So this time we're just going to move one shoulder forward and one shoulder back. And at the same time, as one shoulder moves forward, we're going to look over that shoulder. So if we start with maybe the right shoulder, that shoulder will drop forwards, the other one drops back, and we just turn the head to look over the right shoulder. Inhale to center, both shoulders come back to the mid position, and then same thing on the other side. Left shoulder comes forward, right shoulder goes back, you turn to look over the left side. Inhale, the shoulders come back to center, the head comes back to center. And keep doing the same thing. Keeping your awareness on the sensations in the neck, the shoulders, or anywhere where some sensations may arise in the body. And if this triggers pain, then leave it for now. Never work into pain with yoga. And we'll just do one more each side. And if you find that movement difficult, then visualization, keeping it in your mind's eye and just imagining it happening, can be almost as effective. And coming back to center, keeping the shoulders relaxed, that feeling of a tall cervical spine, chin drawing in slightly. We're just going to ease the shoulders out now with a bigger movement and placing the fingertips on top of your shoulders. And then we're going to bring the elbows together, exhaling, taking the elbows up and out and in a big circle as we inhale. So again, keep your awareness on what's happening in the shoulder joint as you do this. Seeing if you can describe big, wide circles, Keeping the circles as smooth as you can. Squeezing the elbows together. And then we'll go in the opposite direction. Again, as we squeeze the elbows together, we're exhaling. And then as we inhale, they move out and away into a big circle. And just one more. And then rest the arms down. And we're going to inhale, drawing up the shoulders in quite a big movement up towards the ears, and then just hold them here, hold the breath. And then we're going to let them go with a little sigh. 2 more times. Inhale, drawing them up. Hold them there, hold the breath. 1 more. And come back to your feeling of the tall spine. Come back to your alignment of the neck, lowering the gaze, softening the gaze, drawing back along the lines of the jaw. Now this time we're going to one shoulder forward, one shoulder back, and we're going to look over the shoulder that's moving backwards. So if we take the right shoulder forwards, the left one back, and looking over the left shoulder. And again, you can do this with eyes closed. Inhale, come to center, the shoulders come to the central point, and to the other side. Exhaling. And just notice if this is any easier than when we did it the other way. Closing the eyes, it can help to focus inwards on what's happening in the body. Increasing our sensitivity to the inner experience of what's going on inside our bodies. And unless we have that awareness, then the brain can't create that map that's so important. If you'd like to pause at the end of the exhale and just hold it there for a second. If that feels natural and good for you, then that's fine. If not, then just keep moving. And we'll just do one more to each side. And returning to center. And just see if you can regain that feeling of the head perfectly positioned on top of the cervical spine. Softening the muscles in the face. Closing the eyes if you like, and a soft smile on the lips. Breathing through the nose. And then we'll come back to some of the movements that we started with, just to see if they feel any easier now than they did at the start of the practice. Take an inhalation. As you exhale, turning to look over one shoulder. How does that feel? Just notice if it feels any smoother or easier. whether there's any more or less resistance to the movement, whether you can move a little bit further than you did. If not, that's fine. So there's no judgment. We're just observing and noticing. And then after your next one, coming back to centre. And we'll bring the hands back up to the neck, just to finish with a nice gentle touch, nice soothing touch all round the neck, telling our neck, I'm going to look after it, I'm going to take care and listen to it. Maybe giving the whole face a nice soothing massage, coming down to the shoulders, and taking the hands down, keeping your awareness on your breath, noticing how does the neck feel now. During the course of the day, you can do these exercises quite easily. Just try and develop that feeling of a nice, long, spacious neck. Thank you for joining me.